That's fine. Whenever he comes back, comes back.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollos, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.
What's going on?
I wish it could be meeting on different
Depression Monday.
Yeah. Welcome to the Buffalo Combat Zone, Do Champions Network. We're your hosts, Alex, Miley, and Randall. Please like, subscribe, and share the video and leave a comment. What's up, fellas?
What's going on? How we doing?
Crazy day.
Bill's Mafia. I find myself at work singing the jingle. It's actually going to change soon. They didn't change it yet, but Student Body is going to change it. Sorry. You may have to sing a new one.
Yeah, we all agree that
better.
It is better. We think it's
better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so what I want to do, I want to talk about the game for like 5 minutes, and then I want to get into all the important stuff because I feel like we should get it out of the way early, and then we'll get into Sean McDermott getting fired, some of our prospects that we think is a good idea, or maybe the logic that they should take in order to fill the position in the timeline. And then also I want to get into roster construction and kind of what it looks like. I think we have different opinions on what that is and like where we are with the team itself. So I'll go ahead and start actually because I just want to kind of knock it out. I think there's like this narrative that we just played really bad because of the turnovers. I think outside of the turnovers, we were like really, really good. Offensively, I thought that Allen had 2 turnovers that he could have prevented. The fumble at the end of the half that led to 3 points. It could have been in the game. And then the turnover, he should have led, was it Curtis or was it Nicole?
It was Curtis.
Yeah, he should have led him more in the interception. And then the miss to Knox, which I think was more of a layered throw where he had to throw it like that in order to get it. Maybe that's not as big of a deal. Outside of that, Allen was incredible actually in the game, in my opinion. The other interceptions, I don't count as an interception. And then he had a blindside sack that came almost immediately. I mean, he's not going to see that. It's just the first part of the second half. So
a little bit on Joe Brady on that one. Why are you going to have Shakir chip?
Yeah, he's done that 2 weeks in a row now. I remember Allen beat it with the deep ball to Cooks on the last time he did it against Jacksonville. He had Shakir into chip as well, and Shakir didn't touch a person that came through. Like they just kind of flew through. So, yeah, I think that's a weird wrinkle to the game plan. We'll talk more about Joe Brady later, I think, just because I think he's maybe a candidate, but I don't know if he's a good one. And then outside of that, man, like that's really the end of the game. Like you could blame the interception on like not being an interception late on the refs if you want. I think there's other opportunities to win this game. It's not on any one person. I think personally, this was called very well by McDermott. Even in that realm, he knew that he couldn't challenge the play, so he called timeout to give it more time. That's a good coaching move. I actually think this is his best coaching year of his career. And I think it's Bean's worst GMing of his career was this season as well, as far as like not the draft, but like in totality of what he's done. But yeah, you win some, you lose some. Unfortunately, lost this one. I thought that the Broncos defense, we made them look. I think it's a good matchup for us somehow.
Yeah,
it's a really great defense, but we were taking advantage of them last year. We took advantage of even more so this year. I thought the offense was more consistent. The Cook fumble led to a momentum swing. I think that drive could have led to being 14-3. I think if that happens, we could put our foot on the neck, and he fumbles, right? They come down, they score a touchdown, it becomes a game again. So
for sure.
Those are my thoughts, just in short.
Yeah, I'll keep it short as well. You can go, Milo. Yeah. I mean, I pretty much agree with mostly everything you said. I think we handled – those were like the two best away games that we honestly played, except if you take away some of those turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was surprising how well we played in Jacksonville away and then how we prepared for Denver away. Mind you, we did see a lot of people crumble on a short week. A lot of people crumbled in that altitude, which I was not a big fan of. Kind of Cam Lewis, to be honest with you, when he cramped up after that PBU, then they scored the touchdown after that. That was early in the game. I was not a fan that he was already cramping up at that point in time, which led to that touchdown. But overall, I mean, I think the one thing that I don't like overall and is a constant with Buffalo is how we handle overtime in high pressure situations. And I did not like the way that we play called in OT overall. I think it was clear as day that James Cook was gassed, which is fair, very fair because he was a lot in the running and the high altitude is an issue. But I don't like how every first down we ran the ball with James Cook. If we're going to run the ball, maybe use Ray Davis with the fresher legs. Just understand that fresher legs means better. And we were stuck in a 2nd and 10 on constantly, and then basically holding our breath for Josh Allen to make a crazy throw or go into the pocket and then hit Dalton Kincaid on that throw to pick up the first downs. And then we got stuck. We were just kind of bombing it. So I would say that the offensive play calling in overtime was unfortunate in that remark. But I do agree that it was a good game played. We should have won that game. With the amount of turnovers we had, we still were able to get into overtime and be calm and collective throughout that game. So impressive all around, and it's unfortunate that it was a loss. But little things are what ended up causing the issues with Buffalo in that one.
Can't overcome 5 turnovers. It's just too hard to do.
You can't.
I think this team is better than last year's team. I genuinely believe that. I get we didn't have the results, but last year's team, we were winning games like Baltimore. We won the turnover battle 3-0 and only won the game because Mark Andrews drops at 2-point. Granted, we still had time. Josh could have maybe went down and get a field goal, but our offense was like nothing in the second half of that game. I think our receiving corps played better down the stretch when Brady started opening up the playbook. Kincaid was better. The offensive line and the run game was better, and the defense was overall better than it was last year too. Just the reason we didn't have as much success is because of the turnover luck, I guess. The turnover regression. Last year, we played like the cleanest offense of all time. Josh Allen played the cleanest a quarterback has ever played with the amount of negative plays he took. Our offense did not take like any negative plays at all.
That's true.
And our defense got a lot of turnovers. But this year, our defense didn't get as many turnovers. Josh didn't play nearly as clean a football. James Cook had a fumbling issue, and we saw we were the more talented team than Denver. We outplayed them, but when you lose the turnover battle 5-1, you're not going to win many football games. Especially, it's not like Denver's a bad team. It's not like we were playing the Raiders, where we probably could have won a game, losing the turnover battle 5-1. We're playing the 1 seed. Granted, it was probably maybe they're not as good as their 14-win say, but they were still a quality team. They're still probably top 10 overall team in football. You can't beat them on the road by turning the ball over 5 times, especially if you only get 1 turnover back. So that's really what the cost of this was. And Allen, you're right, played a great game outside of that first interception and that first fumble. And that first fumble, you can also put on McDermott for why are we not needing the ball there? That didn't really make a lot of sense. We would have had to hit like 2 or 3 sideline shots just to get in Matt Prater's range because he doesn't have a strong leg, even if it's in the high altitude. And you have no timeouts. It's dumb play by Allen, but it just never should have got to that.
I mean, look.
I understand. I understand that it should have never got to that. It should have never got to that if he got strip sacked in the pocket. Or he threw it and it was an interception or something along those lines. But Allen literally was looking around to see where he was in space. He was in the middle, just go down. Like a $55 million quarterback who's 9 years. Like I put 0% on McDermott because in a different situation, yes, you could put a little bit on McDermott, but there was enough time for Josh Allen to just hit the deck. Like that's a veteran $55 million quarterback who needs to be able to handle that himself.
I completely like the play itself is 100% on Allen. The fact that it was even possible is where there was just nothing we were going to get. There was just no logical way I thought we had any chance of getting down the field. We were getting the ball to start the second half.
Yeah.
There were no timeouts.
Against that secondary, we were hitting them well underneath. We were running the ball well. We were using Kincaid and Shakir great, but we weren't getting anything over the top on them. We would have had to get 2 chunk receiving plays and get out of bounds to be able to. Because if we got landed in bounds, it was probably we wouldn't have had enough clock to be able to do anything with it. So
but I'm sure that was the idea.
I disagree with that.
He was looking. He was looking for the vertical. You got Riley Moss on an outside, probably going for Riley Moss on an outside to get a DPI and work with that. And I think that's fine when when you look at the turnover margin in the first half and then realize that you're in a away stadium with a team that's got a 2-week rest, who is not going to be as gassed as you are. Any points that you can kind of devour at that point, even though it was very unlikely to do, I understand. But the issue is that Josh Allen had a bubble of about 4 yards of circle around him before somebody went and took away that ball from him. I don't know.
I just think that the risk did not outweigh the reward, especially when we were getting ball to start the second half. If we weren't getting the ball and you're like, all right, we got to try and get some points because they're getting the ball again and they could go up 2 scores and maybe they score a touchdown. Yeah, then I'm like, okay, I understand. But we're getting the ball to start the second half. So we're getting the ball right after that. I just thought that the chances of us getting points there were so low because you really have to trust your receivers to get open down the field, which they didn't really do a whole lot. And then that second interception, the ruling, whatever, like I just think the rule itself is too ticky-tacky. Again, it's every year, not even just the Bills, but everyone always complains about the catch rule. It's way too subjective and it's stupid. But you can also, I can put a little bit of blame on Allen for that because he did underthrow him a bit. I get it's better to underthrow than overthrow in that situation because one, it gives your receiver a chance to make a play on the ball. You can get a DPI.
He made a play.
But at the he caught it. Yeah, Cooks made a play. But at the same time, if he hits a better throw, leads him a little bit more, the defender doesn't even get to him, and Cooks makes that catch. I think that I don't think that Mecole miss was that bad because I watched the play a couple of times. I slowed it down.
Yeah,
Mecole was 10 yards away from his break when Allen threw that, and then you see the safety up top. Yeah, where Mecole was running, you probably could have hit that, but there was a smaller gap between the sideline and the safety where Mecole was running versus where Allen put it. I think Allen thought he was going to cut more towards the sideline away from the safety, and that's why it kind of looked like he threw it at his feet more so. You watch it, and he just did not adjust to the ball well at all. And I think that's kind of on Mecole. And then you got to be able to catch that. Like, it's not a good throw. Like, Allen could have thrown it better. He could have been like, I'm going to lead it up the field a little bit more. But at the same time, I don't know, but it just feels like it looked like Allen was trying to throw it down more away from the safety, and Mecole didn't break well. But at the same time, it wasn't a great throw, but Mecole also should have caught it. And then, the Knox one, we already brought up how there was the defender that got his arm up. He had to kind of throw it at that angle. But at the same time, you kind of trust you trust Josh Allen to make a throw like that. He can make weird arm angle throws all the time in his sleep. So it is a throw he probably should have made. There was two bad turnovers, but outside of that, I thought he played great. And then the defense, I didn't think McDermott did a great job with the defense. I thought he played too much soft coverage. That 3rd and 11 on that final drive in regulation, why are we not blitzing? We haven't gotten any pressure at all. unless we blitz. If we blitz, we get pressure, and the receiving corps isn't good. Like especially
Cortland
after
Sutton was dropping balls.
They lost Troy Franklin, they lost Pant Bryant. It was Cortland Sutton, Will Jordan, Humphrey, and Marvin Mims, and we're running soft zone. I get we don't have the greatest corners for man, but those receivers outside of Sutton suck. And Benford can lock down Sutton. I trust Troy White to be able to guard Marvin Mims or Lil Jordan Humphrey. And you have Cole Bishop's also very good. I get Tehran's not very good anymore. Our free safety wasn't very good also because Poyer being out. But I think we could have definitely been a little more aggressive. And I think that's just kind of the stain on McDermott is in those clutch scenarios. The last drive before second half, they go right down and score a touchdown with 25 seconds left. And then they go right before the end of the fourth quarter, right the second half, right down the field, score a touchdown, 55 seconds left. In those need to throw scenarios, he just he's way too conservative, calls way too much soft coverage, and quarterbacks just pick it apart. And that's exactly what happened. He picked it right apart, and he drove right down the field. That 3rd and 11, you get a pressure, you create even an incompletion. Now it's 4th and 11. It's like do or die. Bo Nix is probably going to get a little bit of happy feet. He's going to get a little bit of uncomfortable. And I don't care if you run back-to-back blitzes there. And if he beats the pressure and it's like, all right, we couldn't get pressure with 6 people, I'm not blaming that on McDermott. If it's like they just block those guys really well, no one's getting through, and someone gets open because we're man-to-man on the back end after 3-4 seconds, it's like, all right, I'm not going to put that on McDermott. That's just bad execution by the defense. But you're pass rushing 4, which we got no pressure with all game, and you're sitting in a soft zone, and he hits it right in the seam, and it's a 20-yard play. And they
his bread and butter, too.
I thought that exact play, that exactly what happened there, I think is the downfall of McDermott's tenure in Buffalo.
Bean should have
kept
the
13 seconds game was the same way. I feel like there was just countless opportunities when we get in these shootouts in those late scenarios.
Let me comment.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Bean should have kept Ingram.
Anyway,
we wouldn't be in this problem. We would have Max Harrison out there.
I don't know how
good. We do not know the ins and outs of agents and picking them up on the wire, to be honest.
Also, Jamarcus Ingram sucks also. He was getting fried week 18 by
No. What I mean is Jamarcus would have been playing in the week 18 game, and Max wouldn't have got hurt, and Max would be in the game.
Well, the thing is, Jamarcus would have been playing instead of Trey White, and Max would have still been in the game.
What do you mean?
Trey White and Max were both on the field when that happened. If Jamarcus Ingram was our corner, if we still had Jamarcus Ingram on the team, he would have been in for Troy White because who were you going to sit?
We were
the old veteran who has a lot of bad injuries and is older, or you going to the young rookie? Yes, he already had an injury, but he's the young, fresh rookie. Who hasn't had a lot of snaps. In that scenario, I'm keeping Max on the field and I'm playing Troy White. So I don't think having Jamarcus would have affected that.
I will say, as going on the McDermott with defense and things along those lines, the issue with Mecole Hardman and why I believe, in my personal opinion, that ball was thrown low and they weren't was the connection between him and Mecole and how our wide receiver room has been a revolving door on a constant basis. So the wide receiver room in general, Allen and Mecole Hardman play even 5 weeks together before that throw, it would have been timed and right there. But the issue is that Mecole Hardman was the one that ran that route.
And you see what the speed does on the field as far as I felt like the spacing felt good in this game on all the throws, and it made Allen more comfortable. Like that throw to Kincaid for the touchdown late. I mean, that was a dime, and that was a great catch. I mean, it was perfect. I don't think he has that kind of confidence unless he has good spacing in that play. But I saw lots of. I guess the concepts were pretty much the same. I just felt like guys like Shakir and so had more places to operate because they weren't crowding us so much. You know what I mean? Because they had a little bit of respect for Cooks. Now, if we can just get a younger version of him on the team, it'd be awesome. Like Casey Concepcion. Is that how you say it?
Pierce.
I don't know. It's fun to say it.
It'd be great to get both. It'd be great to get Pierce and Concepcion.
I will be at the Senior Bowl, so I will ask Casey Concepcion what he talks about in Buffalo. So
maybe you can jump in live from the Senior Bowl on the night.
I shall.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's get into the coach stuff. First and foremost, were you guys shocked?
Very.
Definitely.
Okay.
I expected there was they were going to put pressure on the guys to get stuff done and be like McBean basically. Get it done this year or something's going to happen. But I obviously didn't know the whole ins and outs because all these reports coming out I'm like, all right, that makes sense why they fired McDermott. But yeah, I was pretty shocked to hear it.
I was too. I thought that somebody asked me about this. One of my friends here, he's a Commanders fan. He asked if would be shocked if they got rid of anybody. I said, yeah, I think that they won't. They should probably. I wanted Bean gone, but I know that Miley's on the opposite of that. I think McDermott was his preferred person, but I thought they'd get at least 2 more years. That's how I felt. I didn't think it was any chance at all.
Yeah,
I thought it was next year was the year, but
yeah,
I can see that.
I'm with Molly on that. It just makes sense to give him 1 more year. I personally just hate the timing. It's weird because I think a lot of Buffalo is feeling the same exact way, especially because right now it's kind of like, what have you done for me now sort of thing. And that's what fans and local media is about. And right now, McDermott has done more than Brandon Beane. If you look at the last 2 years, McDermott as a coach has overachieved the roster that we had, in my opinion, for sure. So
I don't think this
now,
year he did. Last year,
yes. I think he did this year too.
I mean, there is no reason
with all the injuries and everything else.
When you look at the Atlanta Falcons game when that was going on, our team looked like a bottom 3 team in every defensive metric possible. When you watch that
was and then Shaq Thompson came in, then Porter came in, and they kind of righted the ship defensively.
Yeah, but we're talking about Jordan Poyer and 31-year-old Shaq Thompson, and then Trey White having a resurgence.
Trey White getting healthy, Max coming in to kind of help take some off of him. Those things I'm not going to give McDermott. I'm not going to give McDermott credit for that.
Really, because I mean McDermott basically changed his whole philosophy in the second half of the year in disguise blitzes and disguise coverages, moving to a different zone in zone 3. He should have been doing it from the start of the year, but he's still at least, and that's why, Miley, I am on your side overall. I'm trying to give McDermott my flowers because I do love what McDermott did for the city of Buffalo. But what he did,
love him as a man,
what he did,
and I love
what
the
he did
culture
I think what he did for the second half of the season saved the potential of missing the playoffs in whole. And when it comes down to it, I do agree. Right now, I understand everybody thinks that Beane right now was the one to be fired. But in my personal opinion, we had to expedite our rebuild in 2023 because Diggs forced a trade out, added $2 million onto the more dead cap, which put us at negative 43 in 2023. And then we had to swipe all of Josh Allen's to get to break even. Then last year we had negative 23 million in cap to work with just to do it. So as much as you can't fault McDermott for the roster that he had and what he achieved, and that's why I don't think he should have been fired and got 1 more year, you also can't say that Beane is a good GM and we called him Big Baller Beane before 2023 and then fault him for having such negative cap. And the reason why all that negative cap was there is because we never reached a Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl. So he kept kicking the can down the road to keep the window open. And these 2 years were rough for him to financially roster a full team with all the talent available.
And I think he just missed. I think he missed a few times too, though.
He certainly missed.
He had opportunities to trade for people at the deadline. We could have Myers was the rumor for a while. That didn't pan out. That could have been an easy get.
Even more though.
Rashid Shaheed could have panned out, but they didn't do that either.
He also wanted to go to play with Clint Kubiak, which who knows? Shaheed's a free agent this year. If we hire Kubiak, does Shaheed come to Buffalo? That would be cool. I'd love that. If we could get a Shaheed and a Conception, or a Shaheed and a DJ Moore, or Shaheed and an Alec Pierce. But kind of to your point, was there something you wanted to say real quick?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I don't – this is like a drama one, and then, Miley, you can go. Okay, so it seemed as though at the deadline that Jacoby Myers was that hot ticket item. They posted the McDermott quote and everything, right? And now when we're going throughout today and trying to figure out why and when, we're starting to realize that the Beane and McDermott were not getting along. I would not be surprised if they knew that they were thinking about it and Beane stayed away from Jacoby Myers for that reason. Because if there was a disgruntled relationship, I would not be surprised that Beane was like, fuck you. Nah, I'm good.
Dude, did you think of that today? Because I thought the same thing today. I said, you know what? What if Beane was just like being kind of petty about it because he had his relationship was severed somehow, and he was like, what am I going to do losing to Jacoby Myers, who would help the room, but why would I if I really want him gone, like the best thing to do is to make them bereft of receiver talent. You know?
That would have made McDermott look good because the quote came out. So then Bean would have got it, and they would have been like, that was a McDermott grab.
Well, my thing is I think it worked out that we didn't get him, because if we were paying Jacoby Myers $20 million right now, we would not be in a good cap situation. Our wide receiver would not be good enough, because I think Alec Pierce is better. I think DJ Moore is better. Michael Pittman is probably on the same tier. Or in the draft, I'd rather have a Casey Conception or trade up and get a Malachi Lemon or a Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson. I think all of those options would be better than having Jacoby Myers at $20 million a year. So I think even if the reasoning behind it was him just being petty, I think it was smart, because if clearly Jacoby Myers was asking for that type of money, and he would have probably just walked in free agency.
Agreed.
Or we would have had to give him that outrageous contract, because I'd rather have Shakir at 15.
Yeah, in hindsight, you're right. Like, but in the moment, we were trying to look at this from the perspective of like, how do we have the best chance to win a Super Bowl, right? So in the moment, it made sense to like, okay, if we win a Super Bowl, and this is kind of the type of player we need to like get the offense to the next level, then we would do this, even if it straps us more for next year. Now, looking at not winning the Super Bowl, 100% agree, right? Like you don't want that money on your books at all. So yeah, I mean, it ended up being a great move, right? Because I don't think that's the difference between getting over the hump or not.
I don't think it's the difference between the Broncos either.
Yeah,
I don't either. I think it's a flawed roster.
It worked for the Jaguars because of like their scheme and just kind of the type of receiver he is. And they have other talent there with Parker Washington and BTJ, so it worked there. But
what does this mean here?
Yeah, I saw that too.
Do they want to get rid of him for One Bills Drive?
But yeah, do you not want him to commentate at the stadium or do the?
I like Tasker. I think he's a good character.
Yeah, me too.
People are upset with him today because they're saying they're like kind of, I don't know, being part of the mouthpiece for Brandon Beane. But like One Bills Drive is a very different show than like Jeremy and Joe or Chopin Bulldog. Like they're very like they're the company show. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it almost feels like they have to be in a certain way. So like you can't criticize them really that much. It is what it is. Like Tasker's great. He's great for the community. Like he should be here. That's silly.
You got Sale, who's full on.
Well, he has to be because he has all the access. They'll get his they'll stop giving him access if he doesn't do that.
McDermott gave it to him a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So now he's got to deal with Beane.
Brandon Ayuk, is that Brandon Ayuk?
Yeah, he's too much of a character.
We will be getting Ayuk, and he has too many injury issues. I don't really want a guy who's hurt all the time, even if he's not.
And his contract was a mess while driving 95 down friggin'
I will agree with that. But want to know who was the offensive coordinator for Brandon Ayuk's best season? It was Clint Kubiak.
Yeah.
When they made the Super Bowl, he was the OC. So I get where he's coming from, but I don't want to deal with the head case.
Yeah, let's get into that in a second. Well, I want to wait on that.
So for Beane, basically, like the reason I kind of see his vision, I think the 2022 season being as much of a disaster it is just kind of rearing its ugly head the last 4 years, because I kind of view it as 2020, Josh breaks out and we kind of overexceed expectations. So then they're like, and then the Chiefs get blown out in the Super Bowl. So we're like, all right, we've got the experience. We'll make a couple of little changes here. Then 2021 comes around. We end up faltering a little bit more in the regular season, but we get hot come playoff time. And then we lose a heartbreaker to Kansas City. So then Brandon Beane's like, all right, I'm making the big move to get us over the hump. Or the first big move, get Diggs, help Allen's development. That worked. Then the second big move, the two big moves of this era, I think 2022 is kind of like the middling point, 2023. And it's like post that and pre that. And I think we're building up to that point. So those are the two big moves. You go and get Diggs, you go get Von Miller. The Diggs one worked out until it didn't. And Von was the same way. That was looking like a great signing until he tore his ACL. He had like 9 sacks in as many games and was like top 5 in defensive player of the year odds. We had the closer. That's how we beat the Chiefs in the regular season. Von got a huge pressure that led to a Duran pick. And we were humming. We were looking like the best team in football. And then everything came crashing down in 2022. He gets injured. Josh gets injured. Dorsey's offense kind of gets figured out. There's all these off the field issues with the weather in Buffalo and Dawson Knox's brother passing away, rest in peace. Like just things that are weighing on the team, especially the Knox one for him. He doesn't have as good of a year. I mean, his which kind of understandable. And then it's just kind of rearing its ugly head. Maybe the team wasn't as good as we thought, and we're just kind of not playing great down the stretch. And then the whole DeMar incident. And then by the time it comes playoff time, that team is just so mentally done.
Gassed.
Josh has a torn UCL, for Christ's sakes.
Right.
Trey White comes back from injury, but isn't healthy coming off a torn ACL. So we're basically without our best player in our secondary playing well, and with the big prize in free agency. Then that team completely falls apart, and Diggs is like, all right, I'm done. We're trying to make it work one more year, but we don't have like any cap space. So there's not much we could really do to really improve the roster. We lose Tremaine Edmonds, the couple other pieces, and then 2023 comes around. It's really not looking good. Then we fire Dorsey. Joe Brady comes in. We trade for Rasul Douglas. It kind of regenerates the team. And then playoff time comes around. It's a failure. And now we're looking at they tried to go all in 2022 and it failed. And they tried to keep it alive for 23. And now we're sitting with negative 46 million cap space. And Bean has to shred half the roster. And and he's finally worked his way back to getting into a good spot cap-wise. And that's why
it wasn't an
negative
rebuild.
$3 million. And he kind of retooled on the fly while also keeping the team competitive the last couple years because he has to with Josh Allen. You're not going to trade him and you're not going to give him like the worst team ever because then he might actually be like, screw this. I'm out. Like you have to keep the team competitive on the fly because you can't fully waste a Josh Allen year. And he did that, whether you want to say it didn't have enough talent or not. He kept the team competitive while trying to retool. And now he's finally gotten to a point where he hasn't had this since after the 2021 season, where it's like, all right, we actually can have some cap space. It says -3 right now, but I went out and I made 8 super realistic moves and got us to 53 mil. Cut Curtis Samuel, cut Taylor Rapp, cut Tyler Bass, restructure Dawson Knox contract, give him like a 2-year extension, but lower his cap a lot. I'd be pretty surprised if he doesn't go for that. He loves the city. He's best friends with Josh. Like, I would be pretty shocked if he already took a pay cut once 2 years ago. I would be, again, I think he's going to take one, and you spread out that money with the extension. Then you restructure Allen, you restructure Oliver, you restructure Spencer Brown. We're at $53 million in cap space right there. And now you can go out and you can try again to make a big move to the wide receiver room. Try again to make a big move to the pass rush. And if it fails again, all right, you're done.
Let's get it. I've got a breakdown for that. I want to get into that towards the end of the show too. So let's jump to let's do a poll real quick. Were you more Bean or McDermott letting go for being fired first? Miley, you were more McDermott. I was more fired.
McDermott.
What about you, Randall?
Well, I was a McBean at the end of the year, but if somebody was like, you have to choose now, I would have done McDermott.
Okay. I would have done Bean for sure.
I just wanted
the last
to see
2 years he's faded a little bit more than McDermott.
I just think it's.
I just wanted to see this roster with new coaching.
Yeah, remember when we had to rebuild after the Stephon Diggs trade, and then we had to cut all those veterans, and all of national media was like, put the Jets and the Dolphins ahead of us in our first rebuild year, and had that all. And we cut who we needed to. Locally, we were all like, we understand who you're cutting. National media was like, it's over for you guys. And being in 2 years, in a 2-year rebuild, is still managed to go to the AFC Championship and then the divisional round, whilst obviously not having a great roster. And that's still credit to McDermott being able to over-exceed the roster. But it's still retooling, and he retooled well. You look at, like, the Chiefs are in our situation right now. They're -40 in cap. They need to restructure all of Patrick Mahomes' contract to get to 0, and then they need to start working on how else they can get cap. In a pretty bad – they're in an aging roster that's not great, and their wide receiver, Rashee Rice, who is still a mess. You look at the Ravens –
look like he's on the wrong side of 30.
Right. The Ravens, same thing. Their roster is aging with a bad offensive line and an aging running back who looks like he's getting pretty gassed with about $9 million in cap space. While we are still in the playoffs, they have not been. And the Chiefs GM and DaCosta each get more credit than Brandon Bean, but we're looking at a situation where he outperformed a retool than those 2 guys.
Okay, so what I would say on the McDermott side is I just feel like, and I kind of get it in some ways now that he's gone. I got a kind of a perspective changes on it, but I guess at the time I value the continuity, the culture he brought here. I really did believe Allen could rise above any kind of like perceived deficiency that McDermott had as long as the roster was better. I also felt the roster was deficient, so I kind of put 2 and 2 together there. But now that he's gone, my impression is that, and Miley disagrees a little bit, I think that we need to go offense no matter what. We need a change up, okay? And I think a lot of it is I think we really need to focus on leaning into Allen's strengths. There's no reason for this team to be a run-first team with the best quarterback in football behind center. I mean, let's be a good running team. Don't get me wrong. Don't pretend like I'm saying something I'm not here. But I think that we need to be a pass-first team that runs the ball really well. That's the best way to win for Allen. Our best offense in the era, like statistically, has been 2020. That was that year, although the running game wasn't good because we didn't have good running backs. We do now. So with that said, what do you guys think about, like, who's your top? Should we do top 3 or top 5 candidates?
Well, I kind of have it 3 different tiers. I have a top 1, a top 4, and a top 7. If that makes any sense.
Let's do that. That's good. And we can just go. We can play with whatever number we want to play with. Since you have it pretty laid out, Miley.
Yeah,
you go.
We'll go by yours.
You can go by yours, and we can play around because I'm sure we'll have our names on that list.
Right. Okay. Yep. Number 1, I feel like we kind of all agree on this one. We've been talking about it for a while. Clint Kubiak. You bring Jake Peets with him. Maybe if Brian Flores doesn't get a head coaching job, you bring him to be the defensive coordinator because he's a free agent. Maybe you could try and steal Jim Schwartz from Cleveland, or you just start rating the Seahawks coaching staff out of anyone not named Leslie Frazier. Yeah, like Leslie Frazier. If he's ever in Buffalo again, I might just stop watching. I hate that man. I hated him in 2018. I remember the Chargers game week 2 where we allowed like 4 straight touchdowns at halftime. McDermott takes over play calling and they lost 3 points in the second half. And I'm like, yeah, Leslie Frazier sucks. I want him nothing to do with this team. I hate him. So anyways,
quickly with Clint, I would be interested because I know that their DC, Aiden Durde, is getting looks for head coaching. I wouldn't be surprised if we could pull him, if he does not get a head coaching, to Buffalo with Clint, because McDonald's such a defensive mind that if he separates himself from McDonald and then goes with an offensive mind head coach and he's the DC, that we can work that. And the Seahawks DC is, what top 7 as well. So that could an all-star crew out of Seattle.
Kyle Shanahan 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Himself. Right. Or Eric Bieniemy tried that in Washington, leaving Andy Reid.
Right.
Yeah, no. Or, I think he could be like, I want a 1 year, and if I'm going to do a 1 year DC, let me do it with Josh Allen. Let me do it with that team. And then, so, that's kind of my 1. And if we don't get him, I think there's a big drop-off for the rest of the offensive guys available. So then I'd go defensively. And that's where it's that's my tier 2. Jesse Minter. I think what he's done to this Chargers defense is insane. They were a bottom 3 defense, and they had some really bad contracts, and they didn't do a whole lot to change that roster. They added Jim Harbaugh and Jesse Minter as the coaches, and Jesse Minter's really taken that defense. It's not really a Jim Harbaugh defense. He's kind of riding the coattails. That's Jesse Minter's defense. Mm-hmm. He's the one that calls plays. He's the actual DC, and so I want him. I want Brian Flores because I saw what he did to Minnesota's defense. They sucked. I don't think Minnesota's defense has that much talent. I think their CB1 would have been CB4 on our team this year. I think Trey, Max Harrison, and Benford were better than any cornerbacks Minnesota had last year.
Real quick, did he work under McDonald at
Michigan? I think so. Yeah, so that's also part of it. Scheme. He is part. Yes, it is. He is like I wouldn't say the next Mike McDonald. I think he's a step below that.
We don't know that.
Maybe it could be Baltimore just had much more talent on defense that year. Baltimore's defense in 2023 was much more talented than the Chargers defense this year. So maybe he could be that good. We don't know, but we know at least he's very good. And then you put Flores, and then you put Robert Saleh. I don't care how his tenure ended with the Jets. He almost had them in a playoff spot with Zach Wilson as his quarterback. Anyone who can do that is impressing and impressionable in my book. Then
you know what
you don't want to go.
You know
defense.
What Saleh could come with?
Gary Kubiak. Gary
Kubiak.
Yeah. Who he just got an interview.
Or McDaniel.
Or McDaniel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or he just got an interview to be the Raiders head coach. Like they interviewed him. But then, all right, we don't want to go defense. Here's tier 3. Here's my next tier of offensive guys. It would be Mike McDaniel. I think scheme-wise, he would be number 2 for me, maybe number 3, but the culture issue is why he's lower. And then it would be Joe Brady. It's like, all right, I think Joe Brady's overhated. I've talked about how I like him before. And you want to put him right in. The offense we're already familiar with the offense. And then it would be Brian Daboll. I think Joe Brady's better than Brian Daboll. I think our offense is built to Joe Brady's style. We'd have to kind of really change up how our offense is if we get Daboll. With Brady, it's like, all right, it's already right here. So I think that's kind of my next tier. And like that would be like the tiers of guys. It's like you have the my top guy, defensive guys, and then offensive. And I don't really want to do like a Davis Webb or a Gary Kubiak because I haven't seen Gary Kubiak do it outside of with Shanahan. It's kind of like, oh, is he really it, or is it just Shanahan? Davis Webb has never even been an offensive coordinator.
No way.
Right. Yeah, maybe if you want to throw,
he interviews great. Clearly,
if you want to hire, you want to hire Joe Brady and you want to bring Davis Webb as the OC, if you really like him, and it'd be like him and Josh Allen apparently are like best friends. It's like they got that camaraderie. Okay, I can live with that. Again, that wouldn't be my preferred, but if you bring him over as an OC, but if no head coach. And then after that, there's really no one. Like Mike, I saw some people say Mike McCarthy or Mike Tomlin. I would punch a hole through whatever I saw that notification on, whether my TV, my phone.
Bob and Zone would reestablish themselves in 2027. We'll just skip a year.
Yeah.
I got a question though. All right, so are you completely out? Like, so I know that there comes with risk in this, but are you completely out if you could package Shula and Shieldhouse from the Rams? So get the DC and because I think Shieldhouse is a little too early to get a head coaching gig. He's obviously a hot commodity, but that would mean that you would lose Shieldhouse pretty quickly if he came in as an OC.
My thought is look at the last two defensive coordinators that get hired under Sean McVay and how they fared as head coaches. Raheem Morris and who was the Chargers guy.
The Chargers were both
awful. Yeah,
they were awful.
So I don't know how much offensively give me every single coach that has ever coached with Sean McVay in a heartbeat.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But defensively,
good.
Yeah, I think they're just good defensive coordinators, but I just don't think they can do that. They also are more talented, but I think they're good defensive coordinators, but maybe they're just not good head coaches. And so I kind of want to stay away from that. Much, but I guess that's kind of like my 7. And then, I don't really want any of those like veteran retread culture guys. I feel like we have a pretty decent culture established. Even if we don't have McDermott, a lot of the guys are going to stay and Josh Allen is the quarterback. I think the culture is kind of there. And even without McDermott, he did a great job establishing it. I'm not taking credit away from there, but I don't think we're going to lose out too much on it not having it. So I don't want a culture guy. So miss me with like Mike Tomlin or if John Harbaugh is available, miss me with that. And that's just kind of a lateral move to me.
So 2 things that I agree with that culture comment. I think the culture is kind of built now in some respects. We have a quarterback that can kind of land it, right? And if we're just going to get another culture guy, like why? We already had a culture guy. What's the point of Tomlin? Tomlin is a former special teams coach. He's not bringing new schemes or anything to the table. I don't think they'll fight any harder for him than they would McDermott. And then they wouldn't have his ability to take play calling away from a Babbage because he doesn't really have a specialty in either area. I did see Benjamin Albright today talk about Anthony Weaver and Ejiro Evero. My thought process on that. My thought on that is that these are going to be, I hate to say it this way, but this is how they use it in the NFL. These are going to be Rooney Rule interviews at the end of the day. And it's not, I mean, it's just the way that teams have to do it. Salah would actually check the box, I think.
Right.
So, but I think that they would be that because Anthony Weaver, first of all,
Brian Flores
has not had a good defense, and he had better than this year than last year. But his defense was statistically like one of the worst in NFL history last year. Anthony Weaver's defenses have not been good in Miami at all. I just don't think that either one of those guys are really
Mike
legit.
McCarthy to the Steelers.
If that would be a Steelers move. If they were to actually show anything for Evero or Weaver, that would be a huge letdown because I don't think either one of those guys are ready for this moment. I think they're barely ready for their defensive coordinator duties. When it comes to my ranking, Kubiak would definitely be first because I think he hits multiple boxes, right? He comes from a family line. He's been in a bunch of different spots. He's young. The offense they run there in Seattle, it's very similar stylistically to ours, but it's more vertical than ours, I think, in my opinion. They just don't have a quarterback that can execute that regularly like we do. I think that he'd be a really good fit. He has 2 years of play calling under his belt now with the Saints.
3.
Well, yeah.
Was he not the play caller for the 49ers? Yeah, he was an OC, but he wasn't play calling over.
I forget. Yeah, but he was at least 2 years of sole play calling where he was very mediocre in the Saints, but the Saints are bereft of talent.
Well,
So
that was great 15th. The first month.
Yeah, they were fine.
Until every single starter got injured. Derek Carr was playing like an MVP that first month.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then literally their quarterback got injured. Their top 2 running backs got injured. Every wide receiver
did look
got
good.
injured.
They did look
good. They took
back.
MVS off the streets from us, remember, and was throwing him the ball. All their offensive linemen that were good got injured. Like everyone got injured. So you can't really blame him when it's legit practice squad guys at your starters.
And I think he'd provide us with a shot in the arm that, like, even if Brady is similar to him as far as like his skill level.
I did not know this. That's an interesting.
There you go.
Yeah. So, he was. He was a Vikings OC as well when Kirk was there, and they had a really good highly ranked, not highly ranked, but high enough, like a top half of the league kind of offense.
For Kirk being the quarterback,
he was the OC when they beat us in Buffalo, I believe.
No, that would have been
21.
The train wreck of a game
in 22.
Yeah.
Well,
it was 22.
He was the OC now. Hold on, I guess.
Yeah.
Because this is 21, but
my second favorite move would be to try. I know he's just re-signed an extension, but try to pry Matt LaFleur away from. Away.
I guess that's the pipe dream, get like Shanahan or LaFleur away from their.
I don't think it's that far away. Like, coaches are under contract all the time. They have the ability to jump teams if they want to. I guess they could if they wanted
we just
to,
have
right?
To trade for him
with a penalty or trade for him or whatever. And the other one, I think that I forgot to mention earlier was Shane Steichen from Indianapolis. I don't think he'd be a bad look. He's a vertical, kind of a.
I really like Shane Steichen.
Yeah,
he made Jalen Hurts like an MVP. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and then he made Hurts look. Ever since he's been gone, they have not been. Their passing game's gone way down the tubes. And they're really good at the vertical passing game, which I think we need to move on more. And also, we'll probably
Daniel Jones was almost an MVP for
exactly. He made Jalen Hurts and Daniel Jones look like top 5 quarterbacks.
And I do think that there's a more possibility to snag him away from Indianapolis than there would be us to get like Matt LaFleur.
They could want a first round. Like, he would probably cost a first or a second rounder, and they need
like
draft capital.
2027 first. Can we do that?
They need
they
need
trade your
draft
2027 picks, even though the 2027 class looks immensely better. I don't care.
But it's going to be cheap.
Yeah, we need
second, third, fourth, fifth.
Treat this year. Treat this offseason like the NFL is ending.
Yeah.
After this year,
okay.
Like the NFL will cease to exist after 26. I'm serious.
That's where we kind of have to have a discussion at that point. That's where it scares me, like, because Miley, your list is pretty on point with mine, but like we're looking at Joe Brady as like our 6th tier when that's probably not in where Buffalo's organization that Joe Brady is. He's probably in that 2nd tier or that 1st tier because it's unfortunate, but it comes down to the fact of how transitionable, like also with how I hated the timing is we're literally going to a new stadium. And this new stadium is going to have a lot of stuff that people are going to have to deal with, where McDermott has gone through the building, knows the building well. I just feel like with a new head coach, the transition to this new stadium is going to be a little bit more difficult. So are they going to look at an in-house hire because this transition needs to be seamless, and they still need to have a comfortable schedule to ensure that Pagula and the organization is profiting like crazy in 2027?
So here's another thing too, real quick, before you get into this thing. I wanted to mention this. I forgot earlier to mention it, but I think there's an opportunity here that we could see Bean run like point man as the operations guy, and then allow Gray to move into that spot and be the true GM, right? Where he has input. Maybe the first year with the cap and with the draft, Bean will still kind of act as the GM, although Gray will
he'll almost more be like an advisor role.
Right. Yeah, I think that is the case. Terrence Gray did a lot of scouting too.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. And Terrence Gray came in last year, and then last year you could make an argument it was our best draft class since 2018. Or not came in, but got promoted last year.
Right.
I bet you he had a I think so too. And teams really want him. He's already got 6 interviews, and it was a finalist to be the Titans last year. It wasn't like the Titans even Rooney ruled him. They gave him a 2nd interview.
Yeah.
But I will say though, like worst case scenario, if he does go some routes, we do get 2 third-round comp picks for it, which could help with our. Like if we do, we could be like, all right, we could say screw those 2027 picks even more because here's a.
Can we get?
I'm not saying I want him gone.
By promoting them?
I don't think so because it's in-house. I mean, maybe
that'd be cool.
But I think it has. I think if you lose someone, I think it's if you lose a position coach or a coordinator or an assistant GM to the promotion. I think only if you lose them, not if it's an in-house promotion, which I think is kind of stupid. But then again, maybe people would kind of like just like promote people who maybe so much don't deserve it just to get those free extra comp picks. You know what I mean? And be like, you could almost like token it to get free picks if they did in-house promotions. If that makes any sense.
From Matt Glee, Kubiak running the whole team. He doesn't think Kubiak can run the whole team. McDonald covers up a lot of his mistakes. That's basically in short what he's saying here. I mean, I don't know. I like what I've seen from Kubiak. I mean, if you have
Kubiak's had a good offense, he's got a good track record.
Yeah,
before Seattle. And
Matt Glee, what's your next? Who would you rather have over Kubiak? Since Kubiak seems to be all three of ours like top. And actually today, Jeremy said that the guy who told him that McDermott was getting fired, that Kubiak was the target. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that. That made me happy to see.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I think that we have to invest in some young guys that we just don't know as much about and let them kind of do it, because if we don't ever do that, we're never going to get a McVay. We're never going to get a Shanahan. We're going to have to keep chopping wood. We know what Brady is, right? So we need something kind of outside the box. And I don't think Brady's really he might be second tier for them, but I think that they want to kind of transition the old guard out. That's what this tells me anyway with McDermott, and get new, fresh voices in the room. And I think by keeping Brady, you don't really do that. You know what I mean? In fact, that's why I had Daboll ranked ahead of Brady, not because I necessarily like one or the other more than the other. I think they both have their weaknesses and their strengths. But just because Daboll could give an old voice, but also bring kind of like a new blood into it from his previous stops and things like that, versus I don't know if Brady's ready for this moment. I barely think Brady's really fully ready for the job he currently has. I think he does it fine, but
I agree. And I think if Joe Brady became the head coach, then we would all be sitting here being like, okay, you better make it to the Super Bowl next year, or we don't want you, sort of thing.
Right.
Like,
it's the same
nothing changes. Nothing changes with Joe Brady. But the issue with Daboll is Daboll such a dude, like a bro, that I feel
heavy voice. Yeah.
Yeah. And like a lot of the Giants organization didn't like him because he's got that bro egotistical thing. So if he comes back to Buffalo, he's probably just going to make his clique of Josh Allen and everybody, and people are going to get left out. And that's when culture starts to shift and actually get tortured upon that. And then that culture could go away.
I'll say this too, foundationally, the Giants and the Jets and the Browns and places like that are really tainted from the inside of their organization. You can say what you want about Pagulas, but I think that they truly do want to have a quasi family environment where people feel comfortable, versus, the Jets and the Giants, they feel like it's an overwhelming moment. Joe Shane's kind of a train wreck in terms of the GM. I think that Daboll was kind of ruined before it even started. Now I don't love Daboll's situational play calling, things like that, but at the same time, I do think that he's he is an offensive mind that's relatively okay. Although the only places he's really been good is Buffalo and Alabama. So that's the downside. I mean, if you think about it, he really hasn't done anything anywhere else.
Yeah,
and he had Alabama and then Josh Allen.
I will give him some credit with the Giants. I mean, he did lead them to the playoffs right away. Yeah, it's kind of been a train wreck, but either their offense has had no talent, or two, that their talented pieces get injured. Their best offensive lineman can't stay healthy, and Andrew Thomas. Malik Neighbors gets injured this year. Dart looked pretty decent. I kind of thought firing Daboll wasn't the smartest, because I thought, you let him finish out the year to help develop Dart, but whatever, they fired him and moved on.
But they should have fired both of them before that season started and let them go get Jackson Dart. I'm not saying Jackson Dart is bad, but you just put Joe Shane and Daboll on the hook for the quarterback of their choice, and they spent capital doing it. Yeah. Why would you fire him halfway through the season? It just seems like a flip-flop when it comes down to it.
The organization's bad. That's what I'm saying. Right. They're not a good, well-run organization anymore. Since Eli left, they haven't been the same kind of organization.
Right.
Really, since Tom Coughlin left, because even after Eli, they had the 1 year with Ben McAdoo, and then they had that boat pick and completely fell apart.
Ben McAdoo.
Well, yeah. I think so. I think at the end of
the Joe Judge years.
I think at the end of the day, I don't actually see Bean taking a step back at all until maybe next year, but maybe giving Gray an interim kind of role,
Yeah,
we're
which is
this
perfect.
Introduction to GM,
which I would love.
GM 101.
Maybe even let Bean just handle the cap stuff, right?
And then do the draft with
Gray. Let him do the picks.
I think it's just an advisor.
But Bean loves the draft. I have a hard time believing he's going to relinquish it. That's the problem.
I think he can still be involved.
Pagula can step in and be like,
right.
No,
I think he can still be
giving
involved.
up some to Gray.
Oh, he'll be there. Yeah, he'll be there, right, no matter what. But that's kind of my only kind of gripe with it. But yeah, at the end of the day, man, I don't know. I think we need to focus on offensive coaches. But like I said, if a great one comes around, like I actually like the idea of Shula, but then now you kind of desold me from it because I thought Shula and I can't pronounce the other guy, Steelhouse or whatever.
Yeah,
would be a good combo. I do like Mentor over in the Chargers. I do not want like McDaniel to me is a gimmicky OC that got figured out. His quarterback was limited, but he made a
you can only do so much with Tua as your quarterback. You can't make adjustments because Tua can't do anything else.
Right.
He could be like, oh, I want to try something else, and Tua's like, I can't do it.
You can't throw us out the numbers. But the thing is that a lot of what's predicated in their offense that works is a lot of timing based stuff, and that's not really our game. And I just don't know if he's he's a soft head coach. Let's be honest. Like he was really bad in Miami when it comes to managing. He was too much of a player's coach. He's almost too friendly with them. He did not assert any kind of authority over these people. Like there's no reason to give him a chance this quickly after getting fired from where he's at. You know what I mean? Like I just think it'd be a disaster here.
Yeah, I just want to respond to this comment real quick. Yeah. I completely disagree because this defense has way more talent than the Bengals do.
For sure.
I think you got Ed Oliver, Greg Rousseau, Michael Hoyt, Christian Benford, Maxwell Harrison, and Colt Bishop are all quality starters. And
secondary
if Shaq Thompson comes back, like he literally said, I want to come back, but I also want to be a starter. I think you can kind of patch that in and be like, we'll have Shaq be the starter, try Bernard out at the will. Maybe they draft someone, but they can kind of be like, let's kind of that's one less position we don't have to worry about. So we can go all in to fix other spots, and then we'll worry about that 2027, kind of throw a bandage over it. And if it works, Shaq's not the long-term answer, but it'd be like, all right, we know we have something with Bernard at the will, or we know, okay, we have 2 linebacker spots we have to fill, and we'll figure that out in 27. So I kind of like that idea.
That's a good transition.
I don't think we'll be Bengals level bad at all. I think we have too much talent.
Well, that's a good transition question too, because I think that if we have a new defensive scheme, not many teams run this scheme with really small linebackers, penetrating D tackles. Like we're gonna have to come out with like look at the personnel we have, whoever we get, and say, hey,
right,
is this going to work for you? Because Terrell Bernard's not going to work for everybody, and he doesn't really even work for us. We have 3. I'm looking at the roster. I looked at worked it up the other day. If you exclude the 90-man and just look at the guys who were on the roster this year, who's left? We've left with 37 guys, right? And that includes Dorian Strong, who may retire.
They include Michael Hoyt.
Michael Hoyt's in this book. We have 4 defensive ends, 4 D tackles. Number-wise there, that's okay. But the D ends, we desperately need another pass rusher, a real pass rusher.
For sure.
And the D tackle, we need beef. We need another D tackle.
We need a nose tackle and a
like a 0 a 1 tech guy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you have 3 linebackers on the roster: Andreessen, Bernard, and Dorian Williams. The rest are gone.
And we don't know how Dorian's going to look with that neck injury.
You don't, right? And Andreessen's a practice squad level, borderline roster guy anyway.
He's a special teamer. He's good on special teams.
We got 3 corners: Christian Benford, Max Harrison, and Taron Johnson, who, if we cut him, we could save $2 million, right? That's on the books.
Well, if we cut him post-June 1st, we save $9 million.
Okay, right. Yeah, post-June 1. And then Jordan Hancock, Cole Bishop, and Taylor Rapp, the only safeties, right? You probably only keep 4 anyway.
Oh, Lewis is a free agent?
Yeah, Lewis is
as much as I hate Lewis, I think he's a good bring back on getting.
Huh?
That Hancock goes down to nickel this offseason.
Yes.
I feel like he should be the nickel. He should be the nickel, and Taryn should be gone.
Yeah,
I think that we try it out, and if
he hits hard, he's athletic.
I think we try it out, and by trade deadline, if it's not working out, you just go and trade for someone. You find something to patch, because something like a nickel isn't super valuable. You can usually, like at the trade deadline, there's
more base.
Teams that suck that want to sell. We could definitely find a decent nickel to be able to get off if the Hancock Spirit doesn't work. But that doesn't mean we just give up right away. It's just we trade, and just for the year as we're going all in, we replace him, and then maybe we try him the next year.
Well, then the Hancock thing too, the way he's built, the way he plays football, he is much more built for like a nickel position than a safety.
Yeah,
the way he moves, he's not as I don't know the word for it, twitchy, I guess. He's a little stiffer, kind of like Taron Johnson is.
Yeah.
He'd be a good fit there if we can make it work. And I think there's an idea. They have a plan for him. Remember, they said that. So I think that was the plan. And then plans changed when the safety room got dinged up. Ty Johnson is he's on the roster, $2.4 million you can save. I don't know if we would get rid of him.
No, he's too valuable.
Gilliam is a UFA. Right. Mitch Trubisky's a UFA.
Sign him.
Yeah. Sign him cheap.
We have 5 receivers, but 2 of them are Curtis, $6.2 million save pre-June 1.
Yeah, see ya.
Tyrell Shavers is a $1 million save. We wouldn't do
he'll
that.
Be IR.
No,
he'll be IR'd all year. So really, we have 3 receivers.
He won't be IR'd all year.
Well,
no, he'll be back eventually.
He'll probably be back in October, November.
Yeah, no, November. November.
At best, November, I think.
It's very obvious we need wide receiver help.
Knox is 11.2 million saved.
But that's where you extend and restructure and you make, because I don't think if he's willing to take a pay cut, if he's not willing to take a pay cut, which I'd be shocked, you cut him and say bye. But I'd be pretty shocked. He's someone who loves this place and loves Josh Allen.
100% agree.
Josh Allen loves him. I think he's already taken 1 pay cut. I think he would take another, and I think you can get his cap hit down from, what is it at? 17 mil.
It's high. It's 17. We can save 11.
17 mil. I think you get that down to legit like 5 or 6 mil.
100%.
And then you
100%.
extend him. You give him like a 2-year, 8 to 10 mil, and just basically a pay cut. Maybe add in a void year down the road. I don't really care that.
Then
much
he'll retire a Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
Be his last
I think he
contract.
wants to.
That's exactly what I think too.
Tackle, we're down to 4. Vandermark's an RFA. Which is replaceable. We got Grable and Chase. The thing with, I love Grable. Grable will be really good to replace him. He's a really good player. Problem with Grable is he gets hurt all the time.
I know.
I think this last injury was probably just they threw him on IR that long is just to hold the spot, so we could try and keep Lunt on the 53 all year. I think is what it was. It was like, and
I don't love Lunt,
but that's why we cut Lunt and put Grable on the squad as soon as our tackles went down, because we're like, oh crap, and then we need someone to, and that's why he came off immediately. It was kind of like Samuel. It was like, just stash him on there for right now, and throw him and put him on if needed.
Here's the other major one. This is a huge concern for me. This is actually more of a concern. Actually, the numbers at corner bother me a lot, and guard and center. We have 1 center on the roster and 1 guard, Cyrus Torrance. If you want to count Nick Broker, go for it, but he was added late. He's not a rosterable player. So we've got that going because Edwards and Alec Anderson. Alec's the RFA this year. Connor's gone. Prater's off. Mitch Wisnowski. I think we might want to sign him back.
Yeah, I did a pretty good job.
Great.
Then we're stuck with Tyler Bass, which would save us $3 million by cutting him pre-June.
Yeah, and then we just take a kicker on the day 3.
We have to take a draft kicker. So the problem.
I mean, when it comes to the offensive line, the biggest question is that we won't know for a little bit: is Cedric Van Pran Granger ready to take the center role? That will determine what we do in the free agency.
I mean, Alec was in this week when he went out.
I really
went in, and SBPG was.
I think they re-sign Alec.
I think they re-sign Alec. I think the Alec Anderson over Van Pran Granger is more it's playoffs. You want someone with experience. You don't want someone. He's the only games that Cedric Van Pran Granger has played in is back-to-back meaningless Week 18 games. He hasn't played like anything else of no meaning. So I get why you don't want him to be his first.
I have questions about him too.
In the divisional round,
he's got T-Rex arms. I really worry that
like 30 and a half or 30.
Yeah, he's smaller.
That's why he can only play center though. Center's fine with the short arms. Yeah. I mean, I'm okay with it. He's built like a bowling ball. He's got low leverage. He's got low leverage.
Good movement skills. I think he's somebody who can get to the second level very well, which helps a lot with like combo blocks, which is perfect for James Cook because it opens up cutback lanes and it gives James Cook areas to move. And I'm not like a O-line savant or anything like that. I don't watch like every snap and everything but from what I've seen and what I've heard and what I've read, he was a 3-year starter at Georgia, which counts for something. The SEC is pretty tough
all day.
And there's a lot of good things to like about him. I'm like, I think we should give him a chance. And I think could be a similar scenario with Hancock. And if it doesn't work out, and right before the trade deadline, you go and trade for someone, or you throw in Alec Anderson there, who I think he can be studied. I think we bring back Anderson, bring back Edwards, and
if we get
draft
better,
the guy day 3.
If we get better at pass rush and linebacker, and then we can kind of hide those guys. We can hide Hancock a little bit, and then also with center, as long as he's getting clean snaps, we can kind of hide that a little bit as well if he takes more time. So it's not like he's playing left guard, which I think is a little more complicated. Although center is hugely important as long as he's snapping the ball cleanly. I targeted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positions that I think are emergencies: wide receiver, guard, defensive end, pass rusher, like a pass rusher, outside linebacker, inside linebacker, corner, depth corner, and free safety.
I don't think outside linebacker is, because I think you put Bernard there.
Okay.
I think that
I
think you in-house. I think
Bernard
you can replace.
Yeah,
put Bernard
over, and you draft a middle linebacker behind.
You keep
and bring back Shaq.
Yeah, bring back Shaq and draft a linebacker. Yeah.
So draft maybe that would still be a need.
Or day 3. The depth. Yeah, you're right. The depth might not be great, but it's like you kind of have to pick your poison. Where this isn't going to be a perfect roster. I'm focusing on. I think we can kind of bandage that room up while we focus on other more important positions, wide receiver and edge. I think
wide receiver has depth and high-end issues.
Our 2 big ticket items for free agency should be edge and wide receiver. However it unfolds, who spends more on which position is more
either
than
or
fine.
Trade or free agency.
Right, whichever one it is in this offseason before the draft should be a big move.
And this is why I have such a problem with Bean. He's neglecting high price positions in the draft, right? You should be drafting every single year in the draft. You should be drafting receivers, edge players, tackles.
He does draft edge players every year.
He does draft
tackles. He drafts edge and tackles every year.
He's not good at it, but he does it, right?
Well,
and then
it's also hard to draft high-end edge not at the top of the draft.
In pick 28.
We can't, right? Because there's no opportunity to, right? So
that's
fine.
That is one thing.
And then the one good guy we got, the problem is the people on the other side of Greg Rousseau have not been good, so everyone's just like, here's Greg, let's run away from him, and you take him out of the game.
He had 5 sacks in the last 6 games.
Put Max, you give like Max Crosby or TJ Watt or Trey Hendrickson
still
on the
got
other
down.
side of Greg Rousseau. Rousseau will soar. And he'll prove people wrong because you can't stop running away from him if someone's on the other side.
Soar and Greg Rousseau?
Yes. Look at him.
Soar.
I said he will soar. I think he will be amazing.
6 sacks.
I think
look at how he was when Von Miller was when he was good and healthy. Greg Rousseau his second year, everyone's like, is this dude breaking out to be legit? I think he had while Von Miller had like 8 sacks in 9 games, I think Greg Rousseau had like 5 or 6 also as a second year guy that wasn't refined because he was holding his integrity, he was holding his contain, and Von was so good off the edge. We're like, oh, we have to run away from Von. Oh, there's Greg right there. It's going to be the exact same scenario, but Greg's a lot better than he was year 2.
I think he is what he is. I think he is what he is.
Now, Alex, to kind of piggyback off that, because I do agree that he's wishy-washy in drafting edges overall and defensive tackles. The defensive line is a huge conversation to have because it's how much did McDermott say in it. He's got a lot of say in the archetype that he wants, and then how much did Bean make that controlled decision.
Okay.
But also when it comes down to it, is I really do one flaw in Bean that I wish he did understand is that he does not hit well on first and second round picks. And I do agree. And when you're looking at a late first rounder, every once in a while you should sell those picks. He wants to keep first and second round picks too.
Kind of hitting on some
Max
Kincaid, Torres, Bishop, Max Harrison.
They all seem to get hurt.
James Cook. Greg Rousseau, those are all first and second round picks the last 5 years. Yes, he's had some misses. Kyrie
in the last 5 years, then there's misses in there. So what I'm saying is self-awareness of not wanting to keep all the draft picks and selling those at times. Like get a little bit of Rams in you, but don't go full blown. Other than this year, go full blown Rams. But in your tenure as a GM and you're selling picks, stop being so afraid to sell some of them for ready players because you are bad at evaluating wide receivers. Like you're bad at evaluating wide receivers.
Yeah, unless you already know they're good. Like
use your first or second round picks to get wide receivers that you need to use, and
right.
stop taking chances on Keon Coleman.
Right, because they're so expensive when you sign them. Like, just draft them every year in the first one, and just one in the first 3 rounds every single year, and then you're bound to hit on some. But then he ends up getting like players with antiquated skill sets like Keon Coleman that are like, dude, we've seen this over and over again. Like, this is not 1985 anymore. Like Chris Carter might work. Like players that skill set, unless you're like elite hands, aren't going to really work in this game today. And he's shown clearly he doesn't work. The other thing, before I let you get Miley, I want to let you talk. I just want to get this in because I've been thinking about it. Is the comment about who's making the picks, Bean or McDermott, right? The problem is they let us have access to their draft room when they're talking every single year. I know whose idea Groot was. It was Bean, not McDermott, because when I think it was
McDermott's
style. Yeah, but you guys think about like McDermott's style philosophy.
Bean wanted the play.
He looked at
McDermott wanted the style. Bean wanted that player that fits that.
Well, style. He explained the style. That's the problem for me. He's like, he looked at McDermott and Pagula and said he's more of a compression style rusher, which just means he gets cleanup sacks and he sets the edge well, which is what he is. And he's like,
he's very good at it.
He's good at that.
What defensive ends were drafted after him that were better in that class, though?
So it depends on what you have development-wise. Like, the Ravens are really bad at doing this as well. But I thought that if Owe had an opportunity with a person who could really coach him up, he might have turned into a really high-end player. If he had more upside.
Was better than Owe, though.
Coming out, but Owe has way more talent.
Also a 3-down guy. Always not a great, can't really defend the run.
What we could work with them on certain things, but you can't teach a guy to be an explosive pass rusher either, right?
It's like fair, but Owe also got traded for backup safety in a 5th-round pick.
I know, but he's been better, and he was better with the Chargers.
He was better. He was better in LA, but Greg Rousseau has had a better career. 100%.
Well, for sure, right now, but he's also had better coaching, in my opinion, things like that, as far as defensive coaching goes.
Mike McDonald.
Well, he only had 1 year with McDonald.
2.
No,
McDonald was there for 2 years. No, I'm almost positive McDonald was there.
Look it up while I'm talking. I think he did. But either way, McDermott. He's explaining to McDermott what kind of player this is, and I'm like, it clearly wasn't McDermott's target of a player.
Yeah, I get that. I'm more or less like, there's some that I think that McDermott has a bigger say in, but I also still think that Brandon Beane has to filter his scouting into an archetype. So at that point, even if McDermott didn't see Greg Rousseau, he probably still looked at some edge rushers and like, they don't fit his system.
Yeah.
Boom.
Here's how it is for McDonald. He was from the Ravens from 2014 to 2020, then went to Michigan for 1 year in 2021, then came back and was the DC in 22 and 23.
He was 22 and 23. That's the only one that matters because he got drafted in 21 or 20, I think, is when Owe was drafted.
Owe was drafted in 21 It was the same draft as Rousseau.
Were they 20 or 21?
There was 21.
Okay.
There's no better edge after Rousseau.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the point is too is like, if you look at like I wonder what they do with their analytics too, because if you look at where edge rushers are drafted in the draft, like you would never really draft edge rushers from picks 15 to 40 because they don't hit that well. Like the elite guys are in the top 10 every single year. We know which ones they are.
And then you get
like Ruben Bain Jr., guys like that, even though I think Ruben Bain's kind of, for me, lower end than the usual.
He's a better version
prospect.
of Greg Rousseau.
Yeah. But what I would say is like, for me,
more pass rush juice.
I would swing late.
More kind of rush juice.
Yeah. That's my better version.
Yeah. The problem with the way they draft as well is like they double dipped and took Boogie Basham, who me as this random layperson who looks at the draft every year, I look at Boogie Basham and I knew he couldn't rush the passer. He was
what drove me crazy about that pick?
He wasn't even that good.
That pick drove me crazy because Bean went on the stand and literally said it was either we were trading back or we were drafting Boogie Basham. And in what world did Boogie Basham be that bad? And that was the circumstance of drafting Boogie Basham.
Yeah. Like I don't know.
Like you got that real wrong.
Who are they? What tape are they watching? Because I remember watching him play and going, he never won cleanly off the edge. Like the same thing with Rousseau. Like I loved Rousseau's tape when he was rushing on the inside, but on the outside, he was just kind of a guy. He was really good against the run. He set the edge really well. But like those things were all on tape. Did he think that he was just going to develop all of a sudden into Mario Williams? I don't know, but
I mean,
that
he has developed some as a pass rusher.
He's better than he was when he started.
Yes, sure. He has developed some.
You're right.
I will say I was a little overhyped on him from last year because I thought last year he was really, really good. I thought he was better last year than this year, but he also started the year with that knee bruise. But I also think that there's a reason that his best stretch of like consistently getting sacks was also when we had Von Miller being a game, and it was year 2 when he was getting like cleanup sacks, but I don't think those are just luck though. I think because he's in good position.
He's got good timing.
You pair him with someone who is actually can win cleanly consistency.
His pass
They're
rush
going to move him right into
work,
there.
Dude. His pass rush plan needs work. He gets into the play every single play, and it's the same move every single time, and it never feels like there's any variance.
Well, how much of that could also be coaching of it being I want you in this position? Because in that Browns game, I think he just kind of took over and was just like, I'm going to get us a bunch of sacks.
That was his best game I've ever seen him do. That was the best game of his career. I was amazing.
And we won that game because of him.
Rousseau relies on engaging and fighting instead of a pass rush move. Like, give me a double swipe or a swim move once in a while, and that would be nice, and it would fake them. But he wants to engage. He wants to hand fight, hold wrist control, then get past them.
He wants to use arm length as an advantage.
A lot of our defensive ends do that too also. A lot of just kind of standing around and, we're just going to make sure you don't get outside of us. And it's like,
and then we're not.
Those are like
assignments.
They have so much time to run around and throw. A lot of times they maybe not Rousseau, but they end up getting outside of everyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, Rousseau's over here. I'm just going to pretend he's going to hold his contain, but I'm going to pretend he doesn't exist. I'll dance around over here and be able to run away from these guys.
Yeah, are we talking about Joey Bosa? Are we talking about running away from Joey Bosa?
Yeah, I know. Poor guy.
My God. I wanted Joey Bosa to do so good.
He would win cleanly a lot. His pass rush win rate and pressure numbers were pretty decent. He would win a lot of clean reps. It's just he could never keep contained. He would get overzealous and overeager.
Right.
So the last two things, I want to set up kind of how our pod's going to look going forward into the off season, but also before that, what do you think timeline wise? How long do you think they wait to make the hire?
I think at least probably like a couple of weeks. We can't even formally interview like someone like Clint Kubiak right now. So they're going to wait until after the Super Bowl, and then they're going to do their due diligence. And I would say probably within 2 weeks of the Super Bowl, because they're definitely going to want to have, I think they're going to want to have their head coach.
So we're rooting for the Rams.
At least a week or.
We're rooting for the Rams.
Yeah.
We're rooting for the Rams.
Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday night root for the Rams.
So we can talk to him. Yeah, but also at the same time, I want the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks have the better chance of beating the AFC. And if the Patriots win the Super Bowl this year, I don't
know, man. I don't trust Darnold at all.
I don't think the Patriots at all.
That defense.
I just don't trust the Patriots at all.
I don't trust them at all. But they get there basically a free walk to the Super Bowl. They get to face Jared Stidham.
I think
the Patriots are going to get punched in the mouth.
I think the Patriots are going to struggle this week with a team that can do anything on offense. Like, they should have lost the game this week if it wasn't for the fact that CJ Stroud's like the worst quarterback in the league.
John Payton loves
Stidham. Sucks.
Yeah.
Stidham blows.
But at least sometimes John Payton believes in him.
But Bo Nix isn't that good either, dude. Bo Nix is good.
Like, could they manage it?
At least you see the flashes of like high-level quarterback play. I have never once watched Jarrett Stidham play and be like, okay, there's a competent quarterback who can make plays and lead an offense that isn't terrible.
We are living in AFC East Wonderland, so obviously that we are like right now projecting that the Broncos could beat the Patriots because obviously it's the Patriots. So I'm with it. Like, let's keep going.
Stidham is awful.
20 for 25, 300
He's gonna
yards.
Go 10 for 30
touchdowns.
Picks.
Yeah. We have 156 people watching. Thanks for checking in. We want to also go into kind of what this offseason will look like. Randall works for the draft professor still, right?
Correct.
He's still working there too. So he has really good analysis. We'll get into draft talk, probably not yet, but maybe we'll start getting into next week, maybe more of hopefully
guys
like coaching stuff. Yeah, like we might go into some free agent targets that we're looking at, cap situation, like what we need to get under the cap. Maybe next week we'll run Spot Rack and do the breakdown on the restructures of the contracts and put it on the screen so everybody can see it. Just to make it a little easier and clean. Should we do
like just a fun mock? Should we do a fun mock draft to end every episode?
I love
mock draft Monday.
We could do that. Yeah, absolutely.
We could talk
that might
like
not be a bad idea.
No, we'll do maybe like a no trades or something like that, or maybe we want to work through trades.
Yeah, well, here's
a no trades.
Here's what I think we should do first, because I had this idea as well as we get through like some of like the ideas about the roster construction, which I think we should do next week and maybe the week after. Is maybe give each show maybe do like a ranking of prospects in the draft, like start with quarterback, top 10. Give our ideas on each player that we like.
Well, do we need to talk about quarterback really?
Well, yeah, that's the other option.
The last position
so take a vote on
quarterback,
should we do all the positions or just
offensive tackle,
or just the positions that we need, right?
I'm probably not gonna. I'm not gonna look at like scouting those positions at all.
All right, so what we'll do is we'll go through Bills centric needs, right? Receiver, guard,
safety,
linebacker, edge,
one tax,
corner, and safety. Yeah, right. And we'll do
slot corner. We don't. I don't think we need to really worry too much about corner.
We'll go into safety.
I will say as a nugget, DPR edge rushers this year are a lot of fun. So so if we could get a awesome upgrade for Javon Solomon in that DPR situation with Michael Hoyt, it's a very intriguing thing. So I'm excited to talk about edge rushers.
Yeah, you can give us some good insight because you go a lot further in depth than I'll go. As far as
little tidbit I just want to throw in real quick. Yeah, I know you're saying like with how much wide receivers in need, the more and more I look at it, I don't want us to draft receiver early in the draft this year.
Dude, it's not that good of a draft after the first.
It's not even that I don't think the receivers are that bad. I just so good with other needs. I want to spend like a first round pick on like Caden McDonald or CJ Allen. Someone like that because I think Cade McDonald. I really liking him. He's a nose tackle who can stuff the run. I think that helps the defense so much.
I haven't fully scouted everyone yet either, so I can probably change my mind on this. But like I said, I have not.
Add in Dion and then TJ and McDonald as like your 4 defensive tackles. That would kind of just have me kind of.
So we'll do.
It's good. It stops at round 5, but it's good. It's good from round 1 to round 5 in wide receiver land.
So we'll do positional
better than last year for sure.
We'll do positional rankings. We'll debate it out, talk about why we think players are in certain levels, just for the specific needs for the Bills, and then we'll start getting into mock drafts. And I think also with do champions, we maybe can get group like I did one with Whittle last year with Coast to Coast, which is another show on our channel. Comes on Wednesdays if y'all want to check it out. And they did a mock draft last year. I think we can do one on our channel this year maybe, and maybe get a bunch of people together and we'd all get a pick. In the draft, and then it was round robin because we won't have 32 people do it, of course. But, if we get 8 people do it, whatever, and then do mock drafts here and there, but also do our own 3-way mock drafts where we can just like round robin it throughout the draft and get it done. Though I think that's probably a good idea. Or we can just do the Bills. I don't know. I mean,
we could. I feel like an episode would be fun to do like just a quick Bills one we talk through, and we kind of just change it up every week, like different strategies. Maybe wide receiver centric. Maybe defensive end set. Like our first round pick kind of changes every week, and that would change how we draft the rest of the draft.
And then we can get Randall to give insight.
People. It's like different, like how the board falls in different scenarios and what we'd want to see happen.
Yeah.
There's a function on Draft Professor's draft that you could do like a 3-round mock 5 times. And then every time you do it, that player goes away. So if you draft Casey Concepcion in the first round, it automatically drafts Casey Concepcion before you on the second time around. So you have to pick a different person.
Oh, that's sick.
And then you keep doing it. So then you have 5 different combos of 3-round mocks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
Too.
Right?
Yeah, we could kind of rip a couple of those at an episode or something. And then maybe like every once we would do like a full 7 round. Just why not?
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. So we'll get into that kind of stuff as the season goes along. I think probably
I love off-season team building so much.
It's the problem.
Drafted free agency and team building.
We're bad for so long.
I've kind of moved on from the draft, or from the Bills loss, because I'm like so excited for how this offseason is going to unfold.
Yeah, I think that's the exciting. So I'll leave on a good high note. I think the one thing that I've learned from today was that McDermott getting fired kind of rejuvenated me a little bit. In some ways of like, I haven't felt this way in a while where there was a lot of unknown. We've had such a good foundation for so long, and that's kind of the downside. But now there is this unknown excitement of like, what's this going to look like, right? And there's excitement behind a new leader and somebody else to kind of show us, maybe gives us a fresh face in the room that does rejuvenate the team. Because truly enough, I've said this on the pod before, I think that the team often early in the year, especially against bad teams or when we get to like the middle part of the year, they look a little bit bored. Like we'll get caught by some teams like Atlanta
all day
that we shouldn't.
All day.
And it doesn't feel like there's motivation. And we get in the playoffs and we're like, oh my God, where's this team been all year? It's because there's like a switch that great players and good teams do. They know when it's playoff time and the motivation goes up and they're able to carry the team through. And Allen's a really good quarterback. I mean, Allen's one of the best switch flippers I've ever seen, especially in Buffalo anyway, through my years of watching. He's maybe the best. Even Jim Kelly in his heyday was he was just the same guy all the time, more so than anything else. And you could argue in the Super Bowl, he just folded every single time, one of the worst Super Bowl performers. But it is exciting to have something to look forward to with the team. Like, who's this guy going to be? And what's he going to bring to the table? That's exciting. And then now with Bean being completely in charge, because it's been 50-50, now we see how all in he's going to go. This year, I've always been be as good as you can for as long as you can. I'm out on that now. I am now go all in. It's over.
That's exactly why
that experiment is over.
Sustained success.
Don't worry about that. We saw what happens. Allen can, as long as Allen's on this team, they'll be semi-successful. We know that. No matter who's on the team with them. Just go all in. And if it doesn't work, it was never meant to be that we were going to win a Super Bowl with this iteration. So that's how I feel about it. Anyway.
Yep.
All right, guys. Got anything else?
Nah.
All right, man. Well,
go Bills.
I'm jumping off afterwards. I'm not staying. I got to get off here after it on. So, but go Bills. Please like, share, subscribe. Thank you for the 168 people that showed up today. Is a pretty big show as far as what's going on. So, especially with the national championship on. A lot of people are watching that right now. We still got 169 people to watch.
I would assume it's a blowout. You're Miami.
I do not know. I have not looked.
10-7.
10-7. Yeah. Miami
Indiana's winning.
10-0.
I hate Miami, so I'm
against. No jokes. They're a good team.
Going hard. Indiana.
I don't like Miami.
Signetti. He knows what he's doing. He's probably.
I also like Indiana. I mean, the greatest coaching job ever.
Real quick before we go, my daughter went to JMU. Well, she was there for a year and then left. I'm not that old. She's 21. And she doesn't go there anymore. But Signetti was a coach at JMU when she was there. Yeah. And then he left and went to Indiana. She just texted me when we were in the call and she said that, Buffalo should bring him in. There is some talk of maybe being able to steal him away. But I think it's very unlikely he'll go anywhere.
Like a week ago, he's never making the jump to the NFL.
Yeah, he said he's a college
good
guy.
for him.
He said he's a college guy.
Yeah. But if he did, it would be this year. He'd go to Vegas. Go to Vegas. Get Mendoza, go with your quarterback.
That would make a lot. Just like
a lot of sense, dude. And
you're not going to be anytime soon, Fernando.
Yeah, they're both so awkward that makes sense that they like each other and they want to be together forever.
But Mendoza's going to be like the first person ever to not be fazed by Vegas's culture. It's like the perfect fit. You don't have to worry about him going out to the casino.
Right.
You might have to worry about him staying up too late reading his Bible more than going to the casino.
Give me like a quick thought on Miami hiring. What's his face?
Albrecht?
No.
Halfley.
Halfley. I don't know why I thought Albrecht.
That's fine. I mean, he wanted to pair, the GM wanted to pair with somebody that he's familiar with, kind of like Sean McDermott, Brandon Bean sort of thing, make sure that they're lockstep together and make the right.
He wasn't good at BC.
No. I think it's a bad mistake, but that's fine. It's the Dolphins.
Yeah, he wasn't good at Boston College.
Look at how badly the Packers defense fell off without Micah Parsons. If one player means that much to your defense, then you weren't that good of a defensive coach.
Exactly.
Obviously losing Micah Parsons is going to hurt.
I'll say this:
if you're a good enough coach, you should be able to at least kind of mitigate it a bit.
The GM the now GM Dolphins that was in the Packers has like archetypes for a secondary, so they like filter out round by round what their RAS scores is, what their arm lengths are. Like they have a specific archetype for every position.
Yeah, they will never draft. Yeah, they will never draft players if they don't hit these athletic
under 5'10".
I kind of like
under 5'11".
I think I kind of like that. I like those ideas.
I don't. You take BPA. I mean, look at D'Angelo Ponds for Indiana. That dude is 5'9", 190, playing outside corner in the national championship.
I know.
Just dog mentality. He'll be a good slot in the NFL.
Right.
You move him to slot.
You move him to slot. I mean, yeah, I'd take him in slot at that point because he doesn't meet the thresholds. I wouldn't put thresholds. I wouldn't put him in the boundary at all. Well, I agree with that. It doesn't really.
He can play there if needed. Like it's like, crap, my starter got injured. At least it'd be like, all right, this guy has experience playing out there. I can throw him out there and break glass case of emergency.
Miami needs a culture change, and this is a culture move. I like it from that standpoint because They're bringing in the Packers culture, which is very stable, into their organization.
Yeah, I'll give
and
you that. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, and that's the only reason I think it's a good move. Other than that, schematically, they're not going to get anything great out of this.
I do hope they go quarterback this year, though. If they draft Ty Simpson, it'll be glorious.
They're not going to do it, but Ty's not worth it.
That's a discussion.
It's the Dolphins, though.
I think Miley might have something going on with him. I'll be mad if they draft Taylor Green, because I don't want Taylor Green to go to Miami. But I think that they will pick somebody up in the 3rd round or 4th round.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Or if they try and go Ty Simpson, because I think Ty Simpson's going to sneak.
What they're going to do, I'm going to tell you right now, what they're going to do is they're going to get Malik Willis, because he's from Green Bay as well.
Right. 100%.
100%. That's what they're going to do. And then next year, if that doesn't work out, next year they'll draft. I'm not either. He's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
He's good as a backup. He's played well as a backup, but it's also with Mike LaFleur as head coach, and then basically just like having a very good running game that he can.
They might snag somebody from that staff for offense too, I would imagine. I mean, I'm sure that.
Yeah, probably. I mean, they're probably going to bring some people over. I mean, he's got connections.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right, guys, please like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollos, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.